Welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. If what you're after is having it all, if what you desire is becoming the best version you can be across all areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and financially, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best of the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, knowledge, experience, and skills so that you can go out and crush it financially and across all areas of your life. Grab pencil and paper, sit back, enjoy, and you are welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. Hello, Modern Kings and Queens. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview some of the best and most successful real estate investors, capital raisers, and just people who are impacting the world and helping others generate passive income. So I'm super excited today because I have here with me Gualter Amarelo. This is actually not our first interview. It's our second one. And he got retired by 30. He was a millionaire by 32 and a multimillionaire by 34. He also wrote a book that if you get your hands on can help you do the same thing. The book is called Broke to $250,000. And he now spends most of his time just networking with like-minded individuals, hosting events, and building millionaires. So super excited to get to talk about that today. Gualter, thank you very much for being here, man. And you're welcome to the show.
Welcome, Brandon. It's so good to be back, Alex. The last time we were here, we had so much fun. Some of the best questions. So I'm really glad to be back. Thank you for inviting me back here, man.
Thank you, man. So actually, right, let me get started with the first question that I want to ask you. So you know how I opened my podcast with like, welcome Modern Kings and Queens, right? Well, that's the movement that I'm trying to build, right? So tell me about the movement that you're building.
That's right. I like it. I love the positive affirmation. So we are building it. We've built 24 millionaires in the last 3 years, and the goal is 100 millionaires. But obviously, we want them to build more millionaires. So it's not just we build you into a millionaire. I ask everybody who's in the mission to commit to building 100 millionaires. So obviously, those who are young and starting, like you're young, it's like you could build 100 millionaires in 6 years. So it really is about helping others find financial freedom, because after they get their money, they realize there's other things that they can contribute to. Most of the millionaires who are in our community are donating to charities, and they're starting their own funds, and they're really helping in their own communities. So that's my hope for all of this, is not just to help people get wealthy, not just to help people get financial freedom, but really to see what they'll do with it. You know, how many people can they help once they've gotten theirs?
Awesome, man. So, and then you call those people alchemists?
Alchemists, because it's from Deepak Chopra and the book The Alchemist. And so what the book was about was really about transforming yourself and moving people forward. And then later on, what Deepak Chopra wrote about alchemy was this concept of moving out of pain, moving into a state of bliss, and moving away from this competition and fighting and struggling in life into a place of creation, creating ideas, creating businesses, creating like ways to help and serve other people. So alchemy is about transforming yourself so you can then go forward and transform others.
Yeah, for sure. So you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So you got to transform yourself first, and then you are going to be able to contribute to other people's lives. So man, the other day, I saw one of your posts, right? And I just briefly read it, and
I'm already nervous. So
like your post. Oh yeah, you post a bunch of stuff. So yeah, you should be. I'm just kidding, man. But yeah, like I read your post, and then I was like, oh, this guy is on the move, right? Like I just recognized what you were talking about. So and what you were talking about is like building a cost. So there's three things. So I can see the Expert Secrets book. Oh no, I can't see it. I thought it was that one over there.
Right over here, Expert Secrets.
Right. So in that book, Russell Brunson talks about the three things that you need to build a cost, right? Like a cost, a following, and it's the charismatic leader. It's like a cost that is worth fighting for, right? And then the vehicle. So I want to go into those three things, man. So tell me about the alchemist leader, right? Like obviously you're the attractive leader, right? But like, what are the qualities that that kind of leader that you accept into your group, into your mastermind, into your what your costs must have?
So I like it because It is all about the people. So who you are as a leader. So for everybody who's listening, if you are in real estate or you own a business, you are a leader on some level, especially in your community. So we look for people who do things morally, ethically, and legally. And a charismatic character has to have things that they stand for. Those are the ones I've chosen, and also helping people who have less. So those innate desires. If you're a giver, that's another characteristic that we look for when we're bringing people into the community. And I found that people are attracted to that. People like people they can trust, people who are honest, who have integrity, and people who really do care about others. Because if somebody's selfish and they're just out there to try to make money for themselves, people smell that on you. They'll feel it on you, and they'll be smart enough, hopefully, not to get involved with somebody who's just seeking for themselves. So those are some of the requirements that we ask for people who are coming into the community is, look, you got to do all your deals morally, ethically, legally. You got to care about others. You got to be willing to give just for the sake of giving. And yes, obviously, the more you give, the more you'll end up getting. But that's not the reason that alchemists go out there and they serve others.
So you implement that externally, right? Like in your marketing message, that's the type of people that you want to attract to be part of your tribe. What about internally? Do you also implement that internally? And if so, how?
So I love the question, because all of our marketing is actually always looking for the next volunteer. It's looking for the next leader. It's looking for the next person who can do business with us. So all of the programs that we've ever created, all of the networking events and the groups, they're really just about attracting who is at next level. So anybody who's inside of our company actually came from outside of our company. They came through any one of our networking events, or they came through one of our training programs, or they came through, we did a real estate deal together, and that kind of led to testing them out, right? You test people out on deals.
Damn, and that's a really high standard. Do you actually like what percentage would you say, like 100% of the people that work inside of your company came from outside of your company and had to go through all of those filters?
Every single one of them, brother. Even down to my traffic folks, the guys who run traffic on Facebook. The man who does it is Michael Gable. He's a ClickFunnels guru. Two Comma Club 2 times. He's done it for other companies, and even him, he actually came through our wholesaling boot camp. He wanted to learn how to wholesale real estate. Then we moved him into our mentorship program, and from the mentorship program, I was like, bro, like, you're the king of traffic. Would you help us do traffic? And that's kind of how these relationships kind of get built.
That's awesome, man. And the reason that I'm asking is because, like, I'm building my company right now. I'm really excited about it, man. Like, you know how you finally get, everything to click and everything like works. I'm in that phase, right? And I'm really trying to make sure that my hiring is on point, right? So I don't. You're probably familiar with the book, Rocket Fuel, and then another one called Traction, right? Well, in those books, they talk about the right people in the right seats, right? And then I've read other books, like, for example, with this leadership guy, the one who wrote Start With Why. What's his name? Simon Sinek.
Yep.
Right. So he talks about the same concept, just in different words, right? He's more of a thinker, right? So he's not like direct to the point, but same thing, right? So what I'm implementing is logistical requirements, because like my company is 100 virtual, right? Like, so 100% virtual. So logistical requirements mean the person must have a good computer, a good microphone, like earphones, like a good camera, because like that's so basic stuff. But like if you don't document it, it's very easy to just not do it. And then that's part of the logistical requirements. Another part of the logistical requirements is skills, knowledge, and experience. Like I want to hire who's, not hows, right? And then that's the first part, logistical requirements. Then the second part is cultural alignment, right? So alignment of identity, values, and vision. So right now you talked a little bit about the identity that like an alchemist has, the values that they have, and all that good stuff. So it's honestly, man, for me, I'm just like impressed, right? Because that's a really high standard. Like every single person that works in your company came from out of your company and went through all of those filters to become who you needed them to be in order for them to work in your company. So tell me about the importance of that, man. Like, why is that a game changer? Why should like people listening are looking to build businesses, have built businesses, or are on the journey, right? So why is this that we're talking about important?
The reason it makes the most impact in your business is because somebody who's used your product before, somebody who's been in alignment with something that you've served or given them, is somebody who believes in it, right? Somebody who's used it, been satisfied, and has gotten something from it and wants to give back is somebody that you want to put in alignment with you because they've already proven themselves to be in alignment on some level, like congruent in some level. Even with my CEO, like when we hired my CEO, he went through one of my coaching programs 8 times and he was actually dissecting it. Like his whole goal was to dissect and break this thing out. And I think originally he wanted to do it for himself. But when he and I first met, I didn't know him from anywhere. We were at a networking event together and I stood up, I spoke, he saw me, he beelined right over. And he told me, he said, his name's Steven, and he said, Gualter, I love everything you just said. I can feel that we're going to do business together. And he said, I want to know what you're selling, what your product is. I want to jump in and I wanted to see if you're the legitimate real thing. And it's been about a year now. And about 4 months ago, I ended up actually hiring him as a CEO because he was so dedicated to the cause. And month after month, he would just say, man, I can't find a flaw. Like the way you deliver is what I've believed in my head existed for years. And he's actually about 20 years older than me. So he just for years was looking for a program like this. And it wasn't until he and I connected and he really got inside that he was able to understand it. And then he was able to have like a real passion around it. Same with the COO, the operations manager. He came through a different program, actually came through the Recession Proof Challenge. That's how I connected with him. And then through that, he started saying, man, I want to run one of these live events. I'd like to volunteer as a leader for one of the local events. He started running Tampa, Multifamily Investors Network. And as we were going through, he started noticing some problems in the network. And he said, man, I think that we could fix this. I think we could fix this. And as he started like really volunteering, really going above and beyond, me and my business partner started looking and saying, man, like, look at this guy go. Like, look at how involved he is. Look at how interested he is. Look at how he's building systems beyond what we had thought of to build.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons we brought him through was because he'd already shown that he wanted to be a part of this on a really big level. Like, we didn't hire him for the position. What he did is he built the position and said through his actions that he was capable of doing it.
Cool. Yeah. So that's why it's important, right? You're able to attract people who will build your business, right? Like by focusing on building people, and then making sure that they align with everything that you got going. You build them, and then they build your business.
Correct. You got
it.
Yep.
So the leader, right? You talked about the leader, the cause. It's building millionaires who build millionaires. And then, so like, what is the vehicle, man? Like the vehicle, like how do you communicate the vehicle? What is the vehicle that you offer these people to become alchemists and become millionaires?
So that is the best question there is. And Russell Brunson's really good at implementing the vehicle in his talks. He says it's all about funnels. You got to have the funnel. And then he shows you, he's like, and I want to prove that ClickFunnels is the easiest way for you to get your funnel. Well, for us, Alchemist Station, it's all about real estate. It's really all about owning a business that's easy to generate, easy to go up in value. And when I say easy, I mean owning a real estate business is significantly easier than starting a digital marketing company because the real estate already has property managers, it has mortgage lenders, it has like the easiest business to borrow against is real estate. And a lot of people will look at real estate and say it's an investment. I disagree strongly. Real estate is really a business because the only true investments are things that you just put money in and you disappear and nothing ever, you don't have to worry about it. It just runs for itself. That's a true investment. Real estate is a business. You're managing properties, you're doing all sorts of work. So our vehicle is actually acquiring real estate. It's acquiring real estate. It's owning real estate. It's managing real estate. It can be lending on real estate. But the idea is you want to be in the real estate business. That's our vehicle. Everything else we do around it serves and supports the vehicle to make it easier for people to drive.
So, so you attract people to invest in what kind of real estate?
So specifically, we prefer portfolios. So we will do single family, we will do condos, but we prefer people jumping into multifamily. It's significantly easier. But if somebody doesn't have, if they say they're in a market like Florida, they don't have a lot of multifamilies. So what we shift to is acquiring portfolios. Buy somebody's 3 or 4 single families, or buy somebody's existing portfolio. I just got one in today, this week, 19 units, right? So buy their 19 single family homes is a lot easier. It's one transaction versus going in and trying to buy 19 houses over and over and over. It takes years to do that. So a significantly easier strategy. Now, obviously, nobody should start with something beyond their means. And we, a lot of investors start with a 2-family, right? It's a good way to start. It's an easy enough deal, small enough where if you make some mistakes, it's not going to destroy you before we move people into, 20 units, 30 units, 40 units.
So, man, I'm just trying to like get an understanding, right? Something got in my throat, but do you attract people with like the alchemist message, like you're going to teach them how to become a millionaire, or do you attract people directly by communicating that it's real estate, the vehicle? Or do you bring that up, after you've attracted them?
You know, it's interesting. We used to try a lot of different things in the beginning. We really, as marketers, right? Because everybody is a marketer, everybody's a salesperson. We tried a lot of different things, and we thought, building millionaires might be the strategy, but it turned out that's not what attracts people. People are actually attracted to real estate itself. So we go
Mm,
to real estate investor associations. We meet and talk at podcasts like this is a real estate podcast, and then we'll talk about the millionaire as a secondary component. So our first person, our first avatar, if you were to look at it as a marketing standpoint, is somebody who's already aware that real estate's probably the solution to their financial freedom or their financial problems. Real estate's probably their wealth building vehicle. So they already have this awareness in the market. And then we'll suggest that there's a path to becoming a millionaire.
nice. All right. Yeah. So similar with me, I also tried it out, right? So with me, like I'm all about networking. Networking is the key to unlock your potential across all areas of your life, but more importantly, financially, right?
Yeah.
And and then I'm in the real estate niche, and it turns out that in real estate, your network is your net worth, right?
Got it.
But like what I sell, like what my company does is we use podcast as a networking and capital raising tool. So then I
Smart.
also tried that. I tried like just focusing on the networking aspect of the message, focusing on, but like it worked. Like, actually using podcasts worked better, man, right? Because now that attracts people who have already been exposed to the idea of using a podcast. So yeah, so similar journey as you, right?
And it's
Um,
interesting because a lot of people will actually look at us and say that networking is our vehicle, but network is actually just a way for us to attract people to the existing vehicle. So we run a lot of networking events. We run 264 across the country. And so we look like a networking company. Like everybody
yeah.
thinks that's what we do. And Alchemist Station is very strong in networking. That's one of our tools. It's one of our resources, part of our whole product. But it is still real estate. That's our vehicle. It's just real estate is fueled by the network. You can't take a Tesla and drive it across the country without stopping and getting it fuel, without putting
Mhm.
some charge into the battery. And that's what the network really is for a real estate investor and really for any business.
So man, so let me share with you what I'm doing. I might be like in the clouds. I think I'm not, but I just wanna, I just wanna make
Gotta
sure that
test
I'm
it,
not,
right?
right? Um, so for example, what I sell would be like a podcasting service, right? But it's not. Like we don't consider ourselves a podcasting agency. We consider ourselves a capital raising and networking firm, right? Like so we help real estate investors build a massive network of their ideal investors, and we just happen to use podcast as a capital raising and networking tool. And then we have three connection strategies, right? So we can connect the host, right, the host of the podcast, which are our clients, directly with their investors. So, for example, if someone wants to raise capital from dentist, then they'll have 100 interviews with dentists, right, that are accredited or whatever that meet the criteria. And what this helps them do, man, is it helps them build a strong marketing message because now they're actually talking to the people that they're going to be raising capital from, right? And then they build a network, they're able to raise capital. The second connection strategy is connecting them with business owners who serve their ideal investors,
Yep.
right? So there's digital marketing agencies out there who like all they do is work with dental practices, right? So like if you connect with one of those business owners, digital marketing agency owners, and he has 100 clients, then you can suggest to like work on a deal. That's the second connection strategy. The third one is connecting with capital raisers who um, raise capital from the same or a similar type of your ideal investor, right? So for example, so you connect with a bunch of through a podcast, you connect with a bunch of capital raisers who raise capital from dentists that already exist, right? And now you build a network of people who raise capital from dentists and have successfully done that. And this is like my vision, right? Like with Millionaire Network Automation, I want to produce $100 million in revenue and billions in capital raised and deals closed. And like the so imagine this, right? Like every single one of we have a clients, right? And every single client, let's say that we have 1,000, made 50 connections with either of those three connection strategies, right? So they're the capital raisers. And then because I've been providing a lot of value to them and just building them as people and helping them build their business, right? And I'm the type of leader that they look up to, right? Because like the other day I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and then he told me, and I told him, yeah, man, like you gotta get them, you gotta lead people, right? But how do I get them to lead people? Well, you gotta become a person that is worth being led by. Like I wouldn't work for you, I told him, right? And then boom, it clicked, right? So then I'm going to be the person that is worth being led by. And then the idea is that I'll have access to capital, not because I'm doing the capital raising, but because of my clients. Am I on the clouds, or is that
Bro,
like
no,
a legit?
you're right in alignment. So we started the podcast 3 or 4 years ago, and we leveraged it for that exact reason. I interviewed a whole bunch of syndicators. I went through a full year, and I interviewed over 50 syndicators, and that drew in a ton of deep relationships with guys who already had access to huge deals, guys who had access to a lot of capital. And it connected me with my mentor. Vinny Chopra is, he has $1.6 billion worth of real estate through
Mm.
multifamily and $200 million funds that he's running. And I get to connect with him every single week on the podcast, Abundance Thursdays, because of having started a podcast originally and inviting him on and other people as well. One of the suggestions that we had made to an attorney a while back, is a really close friend of mine in Alchemist Nation. He donates a lot of time. He helps people with their closings. He was asking me, he's like, well, how do I connect more lenders? And I was like, bro, like a podcast about lending, like that would be
Yeah.
the easiest thing to me. Is you just interview all of the lenders. Like, who would they do business with? They're going to do business with the attorney who got them up some publicity, who got them on a podcast,
And who created content and posts and stories and reels and all of that, right?
Yes,
Like,
you
yeah.
got it.
Yeah. So
It's an excuse to have a conversation with these lenders. Are so hard. Dentists are so hard to get a hold of, right? We were just talking about that. But mortgage brokers so hard to get a hold of. These syndicators super busy, so hard to get a hold of. But when you call them up and say, "Hey, man, I want to get you on my podcast," or you send them a message on Instagram, like, "I want to put you on my podcast," like suddenly people who are unattainable will respond back to that. Their assistant bumps that right up to the top, and it's like, "Yep, this is priority. Let's get that in."
and that's the key, right? People who are unattainable. That's how I've been able to connect with over
That's how you got me on
200.
this call, man.
Exactly,
I never
right?
check
Yeah.
my messages, but
Yeah. So
my
take a look at this,
system
man. Like,
podcast, right?
so look, one cool. Do you know who like MFM is? Like multifamily masters?
Yes.
No? Well,
yes.
yeah, multifamily masters. They're a big, kind of a big mastermind. So I connect. So there's like 3 partners, owners, right? Who run that. And I got them all on my podcast, right? And then I told him, hey, I'm also getting your partner on the podcast. So like, make sure you tell him about me. And then I did that with the 3 of them. And then I sent them a message to all of them at the same time. And then I got myself invited to speak on one of their events. Like, that's crazy, man. And then you know who the audience of their events are? Well, multifamily real estate investors, which is the one avatar that I'm focusing on helping. So, and that all that came through podcast.
This is
right?
the positive proof of how podcasting works. It's not just about the audience you can attain, it's also the relationships that owning a podcast can get you into.
So, man, right now I just hired like leaders for every single one of my departments. My appointment setter department, my content creation department, and my network building department, and everything, right? And it happened because I had this idea. Obviously, it happened because I've been reading books that exposed me to hiring people, right? But I was like, I need an executive assistant. I was like, because I have a bunch of things to do, and I just can't get to them, right? And then by the time I get to them, I have more ideas that I want to execute. And then I was like, and then boom, another idea came into my mind, which was, well, instead of having one executive assistant who just helps me execute on everything, I can have leaders in every single department, and any idea that comes to me about a specific department, I just give it to that specific leader, right? So,
Right.
And then hiring all of these people, making them accountable to, for their own department, and then just getting them in the mindset of they're building their business. So, for example, the content creation leader is building a content creation agency within my agency, right? And so I'm just getting every single leader to build a business within a business. Like, that's the mindset that I'm trying to help them build. And then one of the things that this has allowed me to do, man, is focus on what I think I do best, which is building people and who build businesses, right? So I have like my framework of building modern kings, which is, I have a framework for building modern kings. It includes the personal freedom formula and the M5 success formula. And then I have a framework that I'm putting together from everything that I've read, everything that I've been exposed. So to become a modern king, and then for financial freedom, I call them the 5 freedom skills. So there's 5 things that you put in place, right? And then the door, it's an operating system that I'm building, and those are like the 2 main things that I'm good at, right? So I'm automating the systems to build people and who build companies, right? So those are the 2 things that I'm focusing on: building people and building companies. And you have like a process, right, as well, and you're actually automating the process of turning someone into a millionaire. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, man. And I like it because what you're talking about here is the 3 steps to any kind of success. First, you must learn it, then you must do it, and then you can automate it, teach it, delegate it, train it. So that third step is the vehicle can change on how you're going to make sure that it's passed on to other people. But the first 2 steps are non-negotiable. You must learn it, then you must do it, and then you can teach to others or delegate it out. So for us, it really does come down to automating the millionaire building process was not as simple as I thought it would be. At first, I was like, hey, I
Yeah.
just do what I did. And it turns out every person's individual. So we did break it down into some automated steps that were able to filter people out who were serious and not serious. So the first of those is your millionaire path. And your millionaire path is a 3-page report that basically says no matter where you are within 7 questions, starts with a 7-question survey. And then from those 7 questions, it gives you out a printed report of here's how to become a millionaire. The 7th question is how many years would you like it to take? So it can be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. It can be 10 years or 20 years. So there's a bunch of different options. And one of the interesting parts of this is we get a lot of data back from this, right? So over 500 people have taken the report and they've gotten it. And when a person at the end of the report, they get either a free ticket to the summit or they get a free call with one of our Millionaire Path consultants. And so they take the report, they come out with a result. And that result is here's how you become a millionaire. Follow this. Sometimes it's a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan, whatever they selected. And then they get on a call with one of our consultants, and the consultant kind of walks them through here's the easiest way to implement this. Because just because it's written down doesn't mean a person feels connected. So one of the challenges we ran into automating was people need a sense of belonging, right? A person needs to feel like somebody else is holding them accountable in order to do things. Not everybody's like you, Alex, or myself, who's like internally motivated. And even me, I'd be lying if I said I was internally motivated. You know, my spouse, my business partners, my community, my family, they really drive me to go and be a little bit better. And so the second step was like get on the phone with somebody who actually cares about your success. And then the third step is networking, right? They need networking. So it's right knowledge, right accountability, and the right network. With those 3 things combined, we just have to add that special flavor, that special product that people forget is so essential to success, which is time. You have to, it takes a little bit of time of doing the right things, taking the right actions. Now, you getting the report doesn't mean you're going to be a millionaire. They jump on a call with one of our coaches doesn't mean you're going to be a millionaire. And showing up to networking events doesn't mean you're going to be a millionaire. What has to happen is something internal has to occur where you say, I deserve this and I want to go after it. And that's where the alchemy really comes in, is a person has to have a burning desire. This comes straight out of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. If a person doesn't believe that they can become a millionaire and they don't want it enough to become a millionaire, then there's nothing in the world that can ever make a person become a millionaire. Because if they did accidentally somehow just win the lottery, they would lose it right away because they didn't want it bad enough to hold on to it. They didn't believe that it was theirs. They just get rid of everything really fast. And we've seen that from people who've won the lottery. They almost instantly become destitute because of having gained something that they didn't believe was theirs.
Then the first step would be, taking that. Is it like a quiz or something, or how does that work?
Yep, it is. So you can go to yourmillionairepath.com and you answer those 7 questions. Once you've answered those 7 questions at yourmillionairepath.com, you'll get an email. And that email, it has a PDF. Open up the PDF, read through it, and then you can click the link to book an appointment with a coach. Or you can go to the 52 Weeks of Wealth and get to know more about what we do. That program is free. The 52 Weeks of Wealth is something we do for free. We record it, we post it. The people who want to show up live and ask questions, they're welcome to come in. You can't get there unless you go to yourmillionairepath.com to be introduced to the program. But then once you're in, everybody knows what the link is.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, we'll put the link, in the description of this podcast. Actually, I have it.
You're at it right there. There it is. Your Millionaire Path.
So,
yep.
For anyone who wants to become a millionaire, there's going to be a link. Well, who wants to know how to become a millionaire and then, get the path laid out for them. Well, there's going to be a link in the description of this, which is going to take you to that seven question quiz. And then you're going to be on your way. Right.
That's right.
So Walter, man, there's one thing. So I want to talk about, so you mentioned that you have an event going on, right? I want to talk about that. But before I do, I just want to comment on something, man. I do have internal motivation, non-ending motivation. Like I even tried a little hack. So for example, I wanted to motivate myself with like a motorcycle. Like I want to buy like an amazing motorcycle, just for fun, right? And I tried like using that to motivate myself, right? Like how much does it cost? All right, so this is how much it costs. This is the time frame that I'm gonna give myself to to make that amount of money. And then at the end, I'm going to have this motorcycle, right? And I would go through that like mental picture. But then I forgot about it, man. And then I was like, it takes more work to try to motivate myself with like external stuff than to just be motivated. Because like I am just motivated, like internally.
Just the act of doing can motivate people like us. So for you, you're an action-based person. It's the results, it's the next challenge, and that keeps you going. Some people are very worldly. They need to set their vision boards with their cars and with the vacations. And for me, I've always been, I want to see X result hit. I'm just going to go after that. And that's what keeps me motivated is X result, X result. So build 100 millionaires, run the biggest summit of the year, like run the coolest networking event. And every year we do that where we start with 100 people, then it was 200 people last year. And this year we're aiming at 400 or 500 people in the room. And every year we level up, we bring on better speakers, we do better things because like yourself, it's about the accomplishment itself. It's not about the results. Obviously, we choose targets that will bring in massive results. We choose targets that are going to bring in money. Real estate, any goal you set in real estate will bring in money. Now, you set $1 million goals. That's what the report will show you, how to set a $1 million goal. Then you start working towards it. You will become a millionaire as long as you stay in it long enough to get the job done. Time is part of the equation.
Yeah. Hello, morning kings and queens. At my company, Millionaire Network Automation, we believe in the power of networking. We believe that in real estate, your net worth is your network. This is why we help real estate investors raise capital by connecting them with their ideal investors and helping them build a massive network of their ideal investors in less than 30 days and with only 4 hours of work per week. If you're interested in this, click the link below in the description of this podcast to learn how you can propel your growth with a reliable system that will consistently help you connect with your ideal investors, build trust, add value, get your investors to promote you and put you in front of more of their investor friends, and raise more capital faster and in a much more effortless way so that you can achieve your financial freedom and still have the time and the energy to pour into every single other area of your life. So go watch the training and you're going to have the opportunity to book a call to talk about how you can get this 100% done for you system implemented in the next 5 days. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later, and enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye. And the thing here is, man, is that I'm not motivated, right? So I think that's the wrong word. I'm inspired, man.
You're inspired, yeah. Yes.
I'm inspired. And I have the formula to like get people inspired, right? To like inspire people. And it's part of like the leadership and everything that I've put together in my mind.
Character, man.
Yeah, exactly, right? So how do you inspire someone? Well, so it's part of my values. So like the values that I have personally and with like within my company are purpose, growth, and contribution, right? And then the other three are, so purpose, growth, and contribution, and the other three are order, discipline, and high standards, right? So you can't have a person with order in their life, or who's disciplined, or who has high standards, without them being inspired first, man, right? Because you can't have discipline without being inspired, because it's not discipline, it's willpower, and it rounds out, right? It runs out. Like you're going to burn out, and you're eventually going to miss a day of like running or whatever it is that you've set out to accomplish. So in order for you to have people with order, with discipline, and with high standards, they gotta be inspired first. And in order for someone to be inspired, they gotta have a sense of purpose. Like you mentioned earlier, they gotta have a sense of belonging. Like they're part of something bigger than themselves. Like they're contributing, growth, right? Like you gotta teach people how to grow themselves across all areas: mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and financially. We're growing, right? Like, and people don't know how to grow. They just think that we're here in this planet to just like, I don't know, be happy or have fun. And I mean, it's part of it, right? But there's nothing in nature.
Can't be the goal, right? Because you just lower your standards and suddenly you're happy. So
yeah, right. So yeah, exactly, man. Being happy can be the goal, because like if you want to be happy, well, just smoke weed all day, and you know you'll feel pretty happy, right? So it's not to be happy, it's to grow, right? Like there's nothing in nature that doesn't grow. Anything in nature that doesn't grow gets taken out of the food chain.
That's right.
And then contributing. Right. So why all the growth? Like, why all the growth? Why this purpose? Why all of this stuff? Well, to contribute, to give it out to people. Right.
That's right.
And like that's the formula: purpose, growth, and contribution, to make someone inspired, to get them inspired. And then going back to what we were talking about, the right people in the right seats, and hiring and making sure that people are aligned with your costs and with what you believe and with your identity and all of that. It comes part of it. Because like if you want to build a culture of happy people, you don't recruit sad people and then try to get them to be happy. No, like you recruit happy people. You find those
Recruit
people,
happy people, man.
right? Exactly.
Recruit
So
motivated people. You gotta recruit people who are vibrating on the same frequency that you're vibrating at. As a community leader, like when you're out there speaking, your energy that you have on stage, your energy behind the podcast is going to attract people who are exactly like you. So it's really important that you are like a tuning fork and you really tune yourself into that energy and that state of mind. That's why meditation and exercise are so important, and reading the books and getting yourself really clear on who you are, because you really are a tuning fork. Whatever else is tuning at that same vibrant frequency will start vibrating when it's around you. So it's like it'll start vibrating from your frequency, but other tuning forks will not. And that's okay. It's not your job to convert people who are not looking for impact, not looking for growth, not looking for contribution. It's your job just to be out there vibrating and
attract them. Yeah.
Pay attention to who's also vibrating when you're speaking, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, man. Talking about like this vibrational stuff, man. You know what like the skill set that I've recently developed, man? It's crazy. Like you're probably going to like it. So I think I mentioned this to you the other time, last time, like a year ago that we talked. But I follow Peter Sage. Do you know who Peter Sage is?
Tell me about him, brother.
Peter Sage.
Fill me in.
So you have Tony Robbins over there, like in the
Yep.
back. So Peter Sage was like a top trainer for Tony Robbins for like 10 years. And then he just went out and did his own thing, right? But he was like working hand by hand with him. So he's like a spiritual teacher. Like Peter Sage is a spiritual teacher. And I just been studying that one person for the past like 2 years. Like that's it. No one else, just him. So every morning I have like a 90-minute of personal development. 45 minutes are for spiritual, 45 minutes are for skill. And for the past like 2 years, I've studied him, and he talks about 4 levels of consciousness, right? Do you know about the book Power versus Force?
Yes.
Right. So in that book, there's like 16 levels of consciousness, but Peter Sage made it simpler into like 4, right? So the first one, victim mode. Like, oh, everything happens to me. Like everything happens to me, right? Like victim, there's nothing that I can do. Then the second stage is achiever mode, right? Like everything happens by me. Like I'm gonna make it happen, right? That's where most people in the personal development industry are in. And then the third one, that's when you realize that you attract. You don't like push, right? You attract. You are a tuning fork and all of that. So the third one is through me, right? Things happen through you, right? Like this is flow. That's when doors open before you even touch the knob. Things just seem to click. Life seems to have your back, right? And it's pretty cool. And then the fourth one is like oneness, right? I can't even talk about it because I've had glimpses of what oneness would be, but I'm not sure, right? So those are the 4 stages of consciousness that he talks about, that he broke, the 16 of the Hawkins into 4. And the skill set that I've developed now, coming back to like the story that I was going to tell you, the skill set that I've developed, man, is I hear people talking. It's crazy, man. And then I even catch myself. So I hear people talking, and then I'm like, oh, like he's coming from this, and then I'm able to tell them. So look, so now you told me this, and like it could mean this, or it could also mean this, or it could also mean this. Like you decide, right? Or like
Right.
me, like with myself, like I think a thought, and then I'm like, boom, and then instantly, man, it's like I have 3. It's like I have 3 brains. Like I see things from like those 3, not from the fourth one, but from like 3 different points of view, and I'm like, and it's my choice. Like, like this thought applies here, it applies here, and it applies here, right? And I can't think of an example right now, man, but honestly, it's incredible. Like, holy shit, like you're in control.
You've gained perspective. So what's happening is you now are you're conscionable to different layers of consciousness, and you're able to gain perspective. It gives you a superpower in the world. It also gives you a lot of responsibility, because now you're able to, if you can understand where a person's coming from, like if somebody's in the victim mode, you can easily manipulate that person into moving in a direction. So you have to be very ethical. And that's why we say, everything morally, ethically, and legally, as you're learning these superpowers of influence is really what you're learning.
Yeah.
Influence over self and influence over others is the ability to move a person in a direction that is best for them. And the easiest way to do that obviously is qualifying questions. We call it diagnostic selling. Whether we're selling somebody on a product or we're selling somebody on a concept or inspiring somebody, is this something you'd be interested in being inspired towards? Because somebody who's learning these languages now has the ability to move a person forward in a direction that could be beneficial or move them further away or just be neutral to them. So by asking those qualifying questions of, what do you want? Where you're looking to go? What are your big goals? What do you think your big challenges are? You're getting both their perspective and you're also getting their ideal direction. Now, most people don't know where they want to go. So you can ask them, hey, what do you want? And they're like, I just want to be happy. And that's a big sign that they haven't looked very deep inside, right?
So diagnostic selling, right? And then, that actually came to my mind. And I've started to like use it. I still haven't gotten to the point of like systematizing that and getting others to use it as well. But yeah, once you are able to identify where someone is, so for example, on a sales call, if someone comes and they're in victim mode, it's really easy to just get them to desire in order for them to take action. That's it, right? If someone comes and they're in achiever mode, you put roadblocks for them to work over them, right? For them to qualify themselves. Yep. Yeah. And then I still haven't figured out, maybe you can help me with this. When someone comes into a call, a sales call, and they're like in neutral, like they're not emotional, they're not in victim mode, they're not really like achieving, they just know what they want, they know what they're missing, they're neutral, and there's just no way that you can get these people emotional. That's it. I haven't figured out how to help them to take a decision other than just with logic. Do you happen to know?
Steve Sims has a book called Blue Fishing, and in that book he talks about this 3 why question asking, and basically you ask why 3 times. So the first person, you say, hey, why do you want to be rich? And they say, well, because I want financial freedom, I want to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want. That's not really their why, right? That's just a superficial why of something. So you can ask them again, and the second time you ask that, they're going to go a little deeper and say, well, because I want my kids to live a better life than I did. And that's not really their why either. So you ask the third time, and that's where they'll go a little bit deeper. If they're willing to go there with you. Without rapport, you can't get that true deep why. But if you have the rapport built, they'll go deeper with you. And that's where things come out with like, well, my parents were always so tight on money. My parents didn't have things and they worked so hard, and my dad was never around, and my mom was working a second job, and it was really hard. I didn't get to spend as much time with them. And one of the most painful things, like my story, is my dad told me the most painful thing in his life was missing us growing up, because he was working 2-3 jobs just to pay the bills. And he's told me that all my whole life growing up. He said, man, like my biggest regret is, just not making the time to spend with you, like having to go and fight for money to put food on the table. And he said, like, my biggest regret in life was not having enough money so that I could spend time with my boys and like raise you guys. And like, really, he's like, I'm blessed to have you, but he's like, I miss so much of your life. And that's my dad's why. That's the reason that he fights still, and he's still looking to learn and do things.
And if you can get people to uncover that, then getting them to take action is pretty much easy, right? It's effortless, because now they're not looking to get a capital raising system in place to raise capital. They're looking to get a capital raising system in place to make sure that they have the money and the time, and so that their kids don't grow up missing them. Like, that's that influences, man.
And the logic approach does work on those people, but it only works once they've released their why. And the logic approach is really good. Obviously, in sales, you learn this, right? It's, well, what else would you like to know? What would it take to get you there? What else do you believe you're missing? What else do you believe you're missing? And you stack up all of the things that they believe they're missing, and you look, if you can correlate that over to your product, then you're winning. If your product doesn't correlate with those things that they think they're missing, then obviously there's nothing that can be done there. It's refer them out to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. It takes discipline, man. Like, it takes discipline to get all the way to the third why, right? Like, you ask why once, they give you an answer. That's not, you haven't peeled back the onion yet, all the way. You ask another why, and then even you, like, as a salesperson, right? Like, you hesitate to go deeper, right? So, have you ever experienced that? And if so, how do you overcome it?
Absolutely. It comes every time you want to give them the easy go, the easy, like, oh, okay, like that was good enough.
Yeah.
It's just you're following a process. In my head, I see the number 3. I just see that third why. I've only asked 2. I'm going to ask the third one just in case. Some people are emotionally connected to themselves. It's very, very rare, by the way, Alex, very rare. But some people are emotionally connected, and their second why is actually their real why. I'll still ask it just to make sure. Just, is there anything else missing? Can you tell me a little bit more about that story? I just want to make sure that we hit something emotional, because without an emotional pang, without a ring of your bell, without a ring of your tuning fork, I won't know that we're in alignment. And I just so I'll ask it anyway, just because I know it's the right thing to do. And we always do the right thing the right way at the right time. It's part of doing things, following a system like you mentioned earlier.
And then it may sound like very how do you say the word when you're trying to like get someone to do something? Manipulative, right?
Manipulative, yes.
But like I reframed that for myself. Well, no, actually, like the deeper I get and the more I find out how important it is for them to invest passively in real estate, right? Or or whatever, take out their money from the $100,000 that they have in their bank account and give it to me so that I can invest it in passively and give them a return. Like the deeper I can go and the more I can find out about how important it is for them to do that, then the better I will feel and the better they will feel.
That's right. So remember why we work, right? So if you're a capital raiser, your mission is to always make your investors money. That's your goal. We never borrow money. What we do is we invest other people's money. So your goal is always to do that. Now, if you don't like your clients, why would you go out and invest their money for them? So as a capital raiser, part of what we do is we're actually seeking to find a reason to work for this person, because it is a lot of work to go out and invest in deals, to take somebody's money, the responsibility, the headache, the paperwork, all this extra stuff. So like when we're in those sales calls, it's really like, do I like you enough? Do I believe in your why enough to be somebody who's willing to contribute to your financial success? And that's really what you're looking for when you're asking those questions. It's not just to see if they're ready to move over. It's also, do I feel passionate enough about their success, about their problems, in order to take on the responsibility of their money and move it into an investment?
Yeah. So and that's the key. You call it diagnostic selling, right?
That's right.
That's the key for like everything, not just to sell a product or service, but
That's
also to raise capital.
That's right.
And then capital raisers just don't know. They think that because I've been involving myself with capital raisers, man, but they think that like raising capital is something that will happen, like by magic, right? Like, but no, it's like, so like I told one of my clients, so man, like when you got on the call with me, I was really sure about what the outcome of the call was going to be. I was really sure that you were going to pay me a couple $1,000s. Same thing with like raising capital. It's not something that will just happen. No, it's something that you gotta get processes in place and systems, right, to get it to happen. So and then so that thought right there, is like an achiever thought, right?
Right.
Right. It's like an achiever thought. So I actually thought about the story, man. So I do want to ask you about your events, but let me tell you the story. So about the example that I thought about. So I asked a friend for a ride because my Jeep was the shop, and then my wife had the other car. So I asked a friend about to give me a ride to an appointment that I had, and then he came for me. He gave me the ride, and then when I got off the car, I told him, "Oh, by the way, man, like if you asked me for a ride, I won't give it to you, right?" And like I told him that, right? And then he told me I was actually thinking about that, right? And then I was like, yeah. So do you know why? And then he told me, right? And then I told him, well, there's three reasons why. You can be like, oh, like a victim. He's not a good friend, or he just using me or whatever. Or you can realize that the reason that I'm doing it is just because like I have my priorities straight, and like if you in the middle of my day ask me for a ride, I won't give it to you, right? So you could be like, you could feel like a victim and feel bad about it. You could feel inspired, right? And you can be fearful because, this exposes what you lack, right? And then it was really cool. And then it's just been really cool developing this thing, man. Like I just look at the world from 3 different perspectives. It's crazy. But so man, you have an event going on. How many days? Is it called 100 millionaire summit, or is it called Big Business Professional Summit?
So it's actually the 100 Millionaire Summit is the name of the event, and it's a business real estate professionals summit. So we take in real estate professionals across the country, we bring them all into the same room, and we show them the secrets to building wealth, like how we're building millionaires, how we built the automated process We go through and we bring a lot of our community leaders in. So the people who run our events across the country. So if you're a speaker or a coach, this is a really good group to connect with, right? These guys run stages, they run big events. And we take them into the room, and for 3 days, we put them through a process. Day one is really about getting everything aligned. Like a lot of knowledge is pounded into their heads on day one. Goals are set. We break through some fears, some objections of like what's holding them back success-wise. Everybody in this room has set the goal to be a millionaire and to go and build 100 millionaires. So that's the reason it's named this. We don't take in people who just like, I want to make money and forget other people. This is a room of contributors, right? A room of alchemists. And so then day two is really about the network. We talk about mastery. We talk about how to master the 4 types of leverage: people leverage, audience leverage, money leverage, and technology leverage. How do you master these to really scale yourself and get to that next level? And then on day 3, we actually put the business plan together, the $1 million business plan, and then we have them sign a millionaire contract. And that millionaire contract, we took it from the healthcare industry. So if you want to lose weight, they'll have you sign a contract with yourself for the amount of weight you want to lose. And it increases your likelihood of losing that exact amount of weight by 20%. So we said, well, we know how health, wealth, and relationships are all connected. If you can increase it on one thing, you can increase it on the other. So this millionaire contract forces you to increase your likelihood of becoming a millionaire by 20% simply by signing it with yourself and saying, I will do this in the amount of time that you allot to yourself. Usually it's 3 to 5 years to become a millionaire from somebody who's starting out with nothing. And this magic of the business plan is proven, scientifically proven, to increase your income by 34%. So we're a community of income increasers and net worth increasers. So we had to include that in this 3-day event. What I tell everybody is, if you're familiar with the 80-20 principle, Pareto's principle, 80-20 has an 80-20 to it. That's 96 and 4. And 80-20, the 96 and 4 of that, the 80-20 of the 96 and 4 is 1% and 99%. So if you look at how many days there are in a year, it's 365 days in a year. Well, what's the 1% of that? It's 3.5 days. So what we tell everybody is, when you're coming to the 100 Millionaire Summit, you're spending that 1% that's going to get you 99% of your results in that weekend with us. And then the rest of the year, man, we are lit on fire. We punch the world. We go out and we produce,
That was really cool.
Hell yeah.
That was really cool.
It's the greatest event in the year, man, because it's the only event that's designed to build millionaires. All the other events are designed to teach you real estate, to get you motivated, to get you excited, to network. This event is truly designed to be a part of this millionaire building process.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So it's going to be in November 3rd, right?
November 3rd to the 5th. It's in Orlando at the Florida Hotel.
Are there still spots for that?
There are, yes. So we have currently 397 people registered, but who's counting? And the goal is to get 500 people in the room. The room does fit 800 people. So we will say there's open rooms, but we're 23 days out. We know we're probably going to hit that 500 mark.
Okay, awesome. So, I have the link that here. I will also put it. My team is really fast, and this podcast will probably be published by like Friday, man. So we'll have that. All right. Let's see. There's one more thing that I want to. Oh, wait, no. Let me just think really quick. I lost my train of thought when I took out the link. Oh yeah, there you go, man. So the 80-20. So and then the 80-20 of the 80-20 is 96-4, right?
Yes.
So my 96-4 is building people.
I love it.
Right. That's it. Right. That's what I'm.
And honestly, it really, if you go down to the 1% of like how to become a millionaire, and even the billionaires will tell you this, like Jeff Bezos and Elon, they say this often, is their job is to hire good talent. That is the 1%. Hire really, really good talent. And really good talent will help hire other really good talent. And really good talent that's been hired will help others manage and build your systems for you. So the 4% is train, teach, encourage, grow. And then when you get back to that 1%, it's attract the right people to train, teach, and grow.
Damn, yeah. So then
you're in it.
So let's see. Wait. So the 4%. So like me, I'm building the people, right? That's the 4%. But if I go down to the 1%, would be bringing in the people who build the people.
Already have it. That's right.
That's a higher level, right? Like
that's next level.
Yeah.
That's what Rocket Fuel is all about. That's what
exactly
is really all about. Is E-Myth. They're really about put the right butts in seats and allow those people to grow the business, to flow. Just sit back and flow, because those people are doing better than you ever could.
And why would they follow you?
They follow you because they believe in the mission. So if your mission, if your goal, if your ambition is impactful enough to bring in these high level players, because it has to have meat in the bone, man. A lot of people with low missions, you look at broke people, they have low missions, low quality missions, they just want to get by, they just want to be happy. And
Yeah.
you look at small, medium businesses, they just want to serve 100 clients. They want to serve 1,000 clients. That'll keep you small. When you start talking about, we want to serve this country, like the really good business owners, you look at Donald Trump and judge him however we do. He says, I want to make America great again. That has always been his business model in his business before he was president. You read back his old books, that's always been who he was and what he was going after. So people of that caliber will follow somebody who's doing something big. Elon is saying, I want to change the world. I want to reduce the fact that we're on the same planet. I want multi-planet species. That's global. That's everybody encompassed into that goal.
Yeah.
Same with Bezos. He wants you to be able to think and have something show up at your door almost instantaneously. So that like they're thinking about the whole world. How can we make the whole world just easier to get access to the things that they want?
So then just like making your vision, and then obviously being the type of leader that is worth following, right?
That's right.
So then your mission, the cost is the 100 millionaires. Is it 100 millionaires or is it 100 millionaires who build 100 millionaires who build 100 millionaires? Or how do you communicate it, man?
That's right. So the 100 millionaires inspired to build 100 millionaires, that is a vehicle. That's one of the vehicles within our real estate model. So you can become rich if you build 100 millionaires, non-negotiable, right? If you serve 100 millionaires, you will become wealthy. So surrounding yourself with people who are already wealthy is a key to becoming a millionaire yourself. So we talk about this as a strategy, right? Build 100 millionaires is a strategy for somebody to become wealthy. If you're a realtor and you're committed to working with people who are already millionaires, landlords, helping them, sell their stuff, you're going to become wealthier. If you're a mortgage broker and you commit to working with 100 millionaires, you're going to get richer. If you're a mortgage broker and you commit to building 100 millionaires, you're going to help people who have no money find the money to go and close these deals. If you're a financial planner, it's the same exact thing as a capital raiser. If you're working with 100 millionaires, you could build a REIT, right? It takes 100 accredited investors to build a real estate investment trust. So when you start looking at that number, so it's a strategy. 100 million is a strategy. Alchemist Nation's goal is to create financial freedom for the world. That's ultimately the reason that we spread out so far, so fast, and we were able to bring on such great leaders is because we really just want to create financial freedom for everybody. And it starts with America. We're focused on America, but a lot of our international partners are finding financial freedom. Some of our virtual assistants are buying real estate because they're learning the things that they're watching from within the team. They're recording my podcast, transcribing. They can't help but go and do some of these things,
Yeah, for sure. Totally get it, man. Yeah, this is great. So let's see. So you have a bunch of events. You have this. Is the next event the $100 million? The 100 millionaire summit? Is that like your main events? Because you also I went to your website right now and your calendar is literally full of events, but you don't run them, right?
Correct. So we have leaders in each one of those markets. So the one event that I show up to every single year is the 100 Millionaire Summit. This is the pivotal event of the entire community. All of the other events lead up to it. So those are networking events, they're training events. They're run by other local community leaders who are looking to build their teams, their trusted teams that build millionaires. So every one of the events that you see on this website, those leaders have committed to building 100 millionaires.
Okay, great. That's awesome, man. Let's see. So you have the Be the Bank. What's Be the Bank?
So Be the Bank. This is for capital raisers. This is for two sides. One, a lot of our community was asking me to teach about return on equity. How would you know a landlord needed to sell their property or had capital that they could invest? And so Be the Bank became this training. Originally, it was designed for me to raise capital. And then later on, we shifted it over to help my capital raisers bring in their clients and work with people who don't understand enough about the value that's trapped inside their properties, the equity trapped inside their properties. A person who's 75 only has about 4 years left to live. Likely, there's some people who live longer, but the average person lives to be 79 in America. So somebody who's 75 no longer needs equity. What they want is cash flow. So if they're sitting on $500,000 in equity in their property paid off, it makes more sense to sell that property, pay the capital gains, and then shift that into let's call it an 8% note, right? 8% note. For every 100,000 you invest, you're making $8,000 a year. That's $8,000 times 4. that's going to bring you in additional $3,200 a year that you didn't have. So somebody who's living on Social Security and maybe a small pension, this can double, triple, or sometimes 4x the amount of money they're making, because people can have a lot of equity in a property and be poor as hell. Like it's called house rich, cash poor.
Just because they don't know.
Terrible lives.
Yeah. So then, pretty cool. So then,
pretty cool, man. Bank shows them how to be a lender versus just a property owner, just somebody who's sitting there on a bunch of equity that's not doing them any good. It shows them the third phase of real estate. So the first phase is getting the deal. The second phase is getting the money. And then the third phase is finally be the bank. Like, be the bank so that you can passively invest.
And you say that this is for capital raisers because a capital raiser with this strategy under their belt couldn't show it to people, right? Who say, well, I don't have money to invest. Well, actually, no, you do. Like, you have this big home and you have a lot of equity in it, and you do have money to invest. So cool. Awesome, brother. So let's see, man. So, man, just what are some things that I don't know that you do, man?
I have no idea, brother. You honestly, you've read a lot of books, Alex. You've done a lot of things. You've done a lot of actions. I guess if I could say there's a challenge coming your way that you don't know or aren't prepared for, that demon is guaranteed to be there. Every level has another devil. So whatever you see today is giving you the strength to get through things, but there's something missing. And I think the most dangerous thing that I can guarantee will show up for you is not what you know, it's what you think you know that is just not so.
Damn,
so I can't guarantee what it is, but I know there's something out there that you believe is true, that on the other side of it, you're going to rediscover that truth wasn't real. And you just have to keep an eye out for them. You can't be afraid of it. You do your very best to go in and take the action with the best knowledge you have, but know that something out there you don't know is going to hurt you, and that's okay. Just learn from it.
That's crazy. Like, I believe something right now, and I just believe it to be true, and it's not.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? That's crazy,
it is your
man.
truth. It is your truth, and it's how your framework is working. It's how you've become successful. I think you're already seeing the one that is, like, I can sense the one you just became aware of, which is you can't do it all yourself. Now you got to hire other people, and that people will be smarter than you. And every level will have another devil. Every single one.
It's been a journey. I became aware of that truth like a bunch of time ago, but it's been a journey to like keep on going and going with it, with that one concept. Like, that one concept has levels.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And the grind that got you to where you are today will not get you to where you're looking to go. It will, like, for me, the reason I'm so passionate about Alchemist Nation is I had to step back from my business in order for my business to grow. I was becoming.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But you want to know something funny, man? I'm aware of a lot of the things that, but I want to go through them. I don't know if, like, I want to go through them because if I'm going to be a builder of people and companies, well, I want to, like, experience what building a company is, like, every step. Like, I could hire who can hire my entire sales department, right? And, like, hire appointment setters and train them and everything. But, like, I want to go through it. I just want to go through it. Like, see?
That's the addiction. So that is the addiction to the work. That is the one that, and every entrepreneur faces this. Everybody who's really good at building their business will at some point realize that they're absolutely addicted to doing. And even though we've read E-Myth, even though we've read Traction, even though we've read Rocket Fuel, we will still be obsessed with the doing of the act because it feels good. We're addicted as human beings. We're addicted to the chemical of, I've accomplished something, and letting go of. Well, finding it in different places. I find it in the gym, right? I'm in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. That gives me that feeling of I've accomplished something, and just transferring it over into different places.
By the way, you're bigger, man. You're a lot bigger. I just commented on your post, but you are a lot bigger, man. And if you're looking to, like, if muscle growth is your thing, right? Like, this is not for performance. This is for muscle growth, like muscle growth. Take a look at this.
Get it, man. Look at those guns.
Right. What's his name, man? Oh, Mike Menser. Have you seen any of his content on, like, TikTok or YouTube? Yeah. Well, man, he's the real deal. He's the only person that I've seen knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like, he doesn't just tell you. He doesn't just tell you go and do 4 sets of that, 4 sets of 12, and then go that 4 sets of 12. No, he knows what he's talking about, and it's less, not more. I go to the gym 2 times per week, man.
Yep,
it's crazy. 2 times per week. And
you can get massive gains with the right exercise, with the right diet, and with the right amount of rest. Now, the reason I push every day is literally consistency. I require pain in my life, otherwise I'll create it in my business. So I gotta create those challenges daily. Otherwise, I end up messing stuff up in where I don't belong.
So I go to the gym 2 times per week,
Yep.
and my routines last 30 minutes. Right. So yeah, I do. I also require pain, but like the way that I give myself that pain is by like doing like something that I do daily is yoga and ice bath. But like my
Nice.
ice bath are next level. Take a look at my ice baths, man. They're next. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see it. But they're next level. Like it's full of ice. Like full of ice. It's not cold water. No, it's like ice.
I
It's
love
crazy.
it, man. It's so good. Wim Hof started talking about that and the brown fat cells and how it impacts your life. And living in Florida, we have to go get ice because there's no cold showers here. It's always like warm water.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. So man, we're out of time. We've been out of time for like 4 minutes. You seem pretty calm. So it might be just because you're not like the one executing everything, but you got people executing for you. It might be because of that. But either way, man, I still want to respect your time. So, are there any last words? Anything you may want to share with the audience? Yeah, before we go.
Yeah, I think the most important thing I learned in this wealth journey is it's not about the money. It certainly is not. If you don't have any, you have to get some. You have to fight. You have to work hard. You have to push yourself beyond your means, beyond what you're used to. If you have no money, like, yes, drive hard. You have responsibilities, push, do things that you would not feel comfortable doing, get out of your comfort zone, make yourself a bigger person, be seen, be known, do things that people will judge you for. Like, just as long as it's moral, ethical, and legal, there are no rules around how much money you can make and how much you need to accept in your life. But for those of you who've already made money, you know the truth. It's not about the money. Like, you got to make the money so you can start doing the learning, start doing the spiritual stuff, start doing that yoga, start reading and getting to that next level, because it really is about how much you can contribute and grow to other people. So I wish you the most money that you can possibly get so that you can discover that the money isn't really what this is all about.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. So and then I have all the links of all the stuff that you got going on. So I'll make sure that they're, under the description of this podcast. So, man, it's been a pleasure just getting to talk to you again, man. Thank you very much. And I'll see you later, Walter.
Awesome, Alex. Thanks for having me, bro. I'm glad the podcast is back.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate you, and we are super grateful about being part of your journey of becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur and having it all. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will be impacted positively. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be across all areas. And if you thought this episode was really valuable, share it on your social media as a post or a story. We have a special gift for all of those who contribute to the Modern Kings and Queens movement. So for those of you who decided to share this episode and help us spread our message, send me a message letting me know on any social media platform at Alex Ramirez, the Modern King. I have a special surprise for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.